Painting leather is a creative and exciting element to leather working. It can be done for functional purposes to provide a protective layer over the surface, or for aesthetic reasons to add beautiful colors and design to the surfaces of leather items. It can also be done purely for artistic reasons, with acrylic paint on leather, just like classical artists use oil paints on canvas. Let's walk through the process right now. The first thing we want to do is find our leather and then prepare it. So what exactly does preparing it mean? Paints require a clean surface to adhere nicely to. That allows them to secure to the leather and keep that paint layer in good shape. If the leather is soiled or has been used a lot, first a leather cleaner can be used to clean it up and allow it to dry. That's going to get any dirt and grime off of the surface. At this time, you might want to add a little bit of a gentle conditioner, as long as it's not going to gum up the surface and will seep into those pores, allowing it enough time for that to dry. Something else to keep in mind though, is that the paint is eventually going to cover up the leather surface. So it can be important to condition it properly before painting it, and of course allowing that conditioner to dry so it's not sticky. That way, once the paint is on the surface, that nourishment is in there, because it's going to be a lot more difficult to condition it from the back and reach the fibers on the top once that paint is on there, because the conditioner won't go through the paint. So now that we've got that done, we want to really prep the surface. And that's going to often be done with something called deglazing. And deglazing is essentially using a strong solvent, something like this, to break down anything that may be left on the surface of the leather. That way we're getting to as much bare leather as possible for that paint to adhere to. So if you have a piece of leather that has a surface coating, kind of like a glossy layer or a water resistant layer, the deglazer might remove that and any other finishes as well. So be sure you want to do that before you use this, because it will alter that surface and remove anything that solvents will remove. It's really meant to get you to that bare leather. However, if you've got something that already has a gloss coating or something and you just want to touch it up, then you could probably go over that, check your paints. But if you're looking for the nitty-gritty of bare leather painting, this will help get you there. So what you want to do is find a well-ventilated area, because these can be pretty strong solvents, and put it on your leather. So we're going to take an example here, a bit of aluminum foil, putting that down to cover our surface and our sample of leather. We're going to open the deglazer and use a wool dauber. The wool will stand up well to any kind of a solvent in most cases. And we're just going to dab it in briefly and then put it on our leather. I'm just going to put it on a little bit there. And I'm going to close this right up. Definitely recommend doing this outdoors or in a well-ventilated area. And I'm going to get rid of this dauber real quick so we can continue. All right, and then we give it a little time for the deglazer to evaporate. And again, to reiterate, absolutely use this outdoors if possible, in a very well-ventilated area. That'll make the process much easier. And it could help dry faster depending on the humidity and temperature that's out there. And now the leather is ready for paint application. So let's apply the paint. This can be done with any variety of applicators. Common ones include brushes. We also have paint rollers that can be used. We could use wool daubers, similar to how we apply the deglazer. And we could also use sponges. If you have an air sprayer applicator, pretty much any way you can apply paint, you can apply the leather paints as well. And this could be done freehand. You can mask it off with paint or have a template that you've applied, or any number of creative ways. It's really up to you. So most often for leather, we're going to use an acrylic paint, such as the Angelus paints. They come in a variety of colors, and you can mix them with others, and they're going to be an excellent option for a paint choice. So here we're going to do black, because I have a dry sample as well. So we'll show you what it's like once it's complete. But here we'll open up our black paint. And in this example, we use a typical brush. And you just dip it into the paint until you get some on the brush. Then we come down here and we just apply it. Now, depending what you're trying to do, you may have an angled brush or a round brush. You could be doing, fine lines over a template. You could be doing other methods as well. It's really up to you in terms of how you're looking to paint. And you can apply it like that. If we're using a dauber, or if we're using a cosmetic sponge, we can dip that into paint that we've got. And then we can, blot certain areas if you're looking for texture. So there's really a lot of options out there of what you can do. And then if you want to use something like the typical foam applicator, again, you can get it in your paint, depending how you want to do it. And then that can go on using those methods as well. You can do all kinds of things with that, or even just straight painting it if you'd like. So it really varies way beyond any kind of standard methods. You could use a lot. And so your personal style and your creativity are going to be the biggest guides in terms of how to apply it. So once it's on, you're going to let it dry. That'll vary based on the temperature in the room that it's in, the humidity, but it should dry relatively quickly. At least a few minutes to be hand dry, and then a few hours to dry thoroughly. And if you've got thick paint, give it at least 24 hours to truly dry and cure throughout. And here's how it looks. Just an example of an all black sample of the Angelus paint. It's going to dry relatively smooth and clean. The texture of your leather will likely show through. The texture of your brush will likely show through. And depending on the paint that you're using, for example, this is going to be an acrylic based paint. It's going to add some water resistant properties as well. And here we could see that water dripping right off. Most often, water on leather is going to get absorbed right in, just like that. So we could see very clearly that that paint is adding some different properties already, which could be expected, especially with an acrylic. So now that we've got that and it's all dry, if you've given it 24 hours or more, then we can finish it. And our finishing process can involve a few different things. If it's done and you like the results, you are finished. Nothing else is needed. However, if you'd like to add any kind of an additional properties or characteristics to it, you might want to add another layer of a finish onto it. And that could be anything from an antiquing finish to a waterproofing finish. Here is an Angelus acrylic finisher, and it is essentially provides a matte finish over this already shiny surface, and it gives you another layer above that. Some will give you UV resistance, some scratch resistance, abrasion resistance. So it really depends how you want to finish something, and it's totally up to you. And that's it. Painting is all done. At each step of the process, work to ensure that your tools are properly cleaned to help make sure they're going to be performing well for you during painting. Also, they're going to be in good shape for the future. When you pull them out to use them next time and do more painting, they'll be all ready to go. So painting leather can be a whole lot of fun and really easy with just a little bit of preparation and knowledge. If you have any questions, let us know. If you have any experience painting, please share that knowledge with us. And there you have it. Until next time.